Models really go through enormous training to counteract the challenge of walking on a runway.
People think that it's something that's really easy, you just walk, and it can actually be really painful.
They have much higher center of gravity, more dynamic walk. It's really a trained skill, like a sport where they really put an effort to maintain that balance. The first component is an EQUINUS walk because they walk on very high heels and they land on the forefoot with foot really plantar flexed. You can see on the pressure analysis how challenging to walk in the heels and do the model walk. You don't have any pressure distribution here. It's all on the forefoot. And in a normal comparison, the contact travels from heel to the forefoot. You could see how the balance is challenged because you only have one point of support. The next characteristic is a crossover gait, is the foot coming over midline. Normal walk, that doesn't happen. And if we freeze Shannon and the control in the same stage, you really see that the angle between the femur and the tibia here is 5 times more.
When you cross your feet over, it creates a more narrow walk. So fabric will flow. If you're wearing a long skirt and you're walking one foot in front of the other, the fabric will start to flow and it'll just display it more beautifully.
The third characteristic is an excessive hip sway and excessive hip hike. Here you could see how horizontal the pelvis is and how small the hip adduction. And here you could see this enormous drop down is really shown as that Shannon's joint angles figures are double the value of the normal. They sway the hip, and if they sway the hip to the right out of the base of support, the muscles on the lateral surface of the hip are really being challenged to lengthen and contract and push the body back to the center. A normal person doesn't really venture that much out of the base of support, and therefore their hip muscles are not as strong. And the last characteristic is very upright position of the trunk without trunk rotation, which doesn't happen in a normal walk.
People naturally hunch forward just a little bit, and you're meant to take it to the extreme and really pull your shoulders back.
Compared to this one, we could see a really nice alignment of head, shoulders, pelvis.
You're supposed to have a really good posture when you're down the runway, which is something that everybody really needs. It has affected me in my everyday walk, all for the better too. All the principles of this walk really just come from making the clothes look as good as possible.
It really emphasizes their body, their femininity, the possession of those long extremities, and the main purpose is to show the clothes.